You have a direct line with the
Yeah, I'm straight to tell you, I don't know.
I get you on an allocation,
You
you can buy all you need for now.
know, that all might change January first.
So just to recap, he's gonna start there in Lakeside City East, Victoria Street, work his way down. There's only 95 homes on east side. There's 324, 325 currently in Lakeside West. But as we've seen, there's homes that get completed on the west or problems pop up, bounce back and forth from that. And then he will definitely give us a monthly report both to the sewer task force and to the city council. I know the city council has been very appreciative of everything y'all done and sort of want to keep y'all, as he gets problems, let it come before y'all look at it, review it, come together and decide what's best, and then let's come back and answer back to the council. Anything else on the plan of attack for these? Jeff, you got anything? Is that all you have?
No, the biggest question I had was as we go to these, we going to fix them to carry on, or we need to bring everything back?
Yeah, no, anything,
As long as it fits one of those line items, just carry on.
yeah, if there's anything major that it's,
Yeah.
then
We got a green
stop.
tank problem, and that goes into it.
Yeah, green tank problems, like always, your city responsibility pumps, anything you see like that, let us know. And anything minor that you see, I know you're documenting it and turning it over to us as we go. Any questions y'all might have?
The only thing, and I'd like to know what brand of pump is at what house. If you're pumping the tanks out, you need to make a note with your picture, just take a picture of the pump.
Yeah, Sam and I talked about that, that's real hard.
It is real hard because the Goulds pump looks a lot like the little giant pump when you're looking on the down side of it.
About the only way to it, Sam says, talking to Sam, you practically have to pull that pump off, they have a little tag on them, clean it off, because over the years, I mean, literally in 6 months, you'll get that stuff corrosion build up on it, it's hard to tell. And looking down in there, there's almost no way to tell the difference between them. We are documenting it now as we're going, which way, what pump's going in there, serial number, everything else like that. This is a good question. Anything else on the plan of attack for this?
Has there been any discussion about who's gonna pay when who finds a tank that is totally corrupt or cracked?
Yeah, so I know there was a rumor going around about some stuff from TCEQ. I had a very lengthy conversation with them on Friday, had it before. TCEQ's thing is, hey, it's the city's responsibility to keep them up to date or up to code or working properly. Now, where the funds come from and who pays for it, that's up to us. So they were in agreement, we have the city-owned green tank. Anything that's responsible there is the city's responsibility. But as always, anything septic-wise, septic tank or grease trap, homeowner's responsibility. Now, that doesn't mean when they get there and they find something, say for instance, they show up at your house and you have a major problem. That's gonna come back here to y'all at the sewer task force, and then we will discuss there what we think. Is this something that could be avoided, it's just negligence, and do we make the homeowner pay for it? Is this something that they sort of had no clue about, and we would like to see the city take due and part of it? And that's like we said, that'd be a as case and as needed basis as we move along.
So far, the homeowners have said,
The one lid that we found that we had no access, I mean, it busted a hole in it, so we go ahead and pump and have that part done. But yeah, she's a great player.
Which it shows you, but everybody who knew, going home down here knew we were on the septic system.
Correct. You are
They
correct.
knew, and they knew there was always an issue back in 83, 84 about overflowing.
Mhm.
It's part of the homeowners, like any upkeep of the property, they must maintain that system.
Right, you're exactly right there. I think the only ones that might not know anything about it are the ones that, there's very few of them, like I said, that rent And so the homeowner and the landlord knows about it, but they have to disclose it to the renter. Most of them do know now, but yeah, you're exactly right.
Is that a, is that a part of the, inspection when a prospective buyer wants to get an inspection on the house before purchasing, that they have that septic system inspected? Is that a part of that?
Yep, that's a requirement. Anytime a home changes ownership in Lakeside City, a septic inspection has to be done.
And does that entail pumping it out and visualizing it?
In the past years, what it entailed, Sam and Kevin would go out, open it up, look at it, make sure everything's functioning properly, and then they would come back to them and tell them.
I'm talking about the green tank, I'm talking about the septic tank.
No, I'm talking about septic tanks.
Okay.
So they would come out, look at it, and they would see the septic tank might be 75% full. Well, at that time, we didn't have the mandatory septic tank pump out ordinance like we created.
Mhm.
So all they could do is on the septic inspection ride, we recommend pumping the septic tank. And most everybody was compliant with it and would do it.
I guess what I'm asking about is that licensed inspector that comes out and inspects a home for somebody. You know, he has certain
A homeowners,
a home inspection.
that's not covered on here. We come out.
So that, okay, it's not covered,
Usually a home inspector stops at the clean out.
okay,
So the clean out home becomes an on-site system.
okay.
Yeah. So if you list your house on the market, we send out a letter every year to all the realtors, South Falls Realtor Association, and they know that it is required for a homeowner change. The only time we've seen it not get caught and then we had to step in and do it is usually if it's a cash transaction. If it's the realtor's not involved and it's just a cash, then we usually reach out to them and tell them, hey, this, they understand. And then who pays for it? I'll leave it up between the seller and the buyer, as long as it's completed.
I know you just did one on Royal, that White House.
709 Royal, the new one?
Yeah. The White House, the White Painted House.
The flipped house.
Ricardo's.
Oh, yeah.
You remember how bad that was? or-
He didn't show any discrepancies on it.
Okay, good.
I mean, most of the time you're not gonna have it. I mean, Wichita Falls has it as part of their ordinance, county and city, on real estate transfer,
Mhm.
you pump it. But they actually say we pump it. Out here, y'all got the leniency of we pump it or may not pump it, so you can buy or sell it. But the real estate community is really hard to train because there's a lot of new ones. And they're used to selling in town, all of a sudden they get this big estate they get to sell outside. Nobody knows, nobody cares. How fast can we sell it? But Archer County has it in their ordinance too. Clay County's the only one that doesn't right here. That inspector doesn't know what to do.
Right.
I know you say when, someone dies out here, they're informed of what they have. Problem is do they really understand it?
You're right.
And do they understand, I guess we need to make sure they understand the maintenance needs, going forward and what's gonna be expected.
And that's one of the big things that several people on council brought up, is more or less starting an education program, if you will, for everybody out here, just saying, hey, you have a septic tank in your backyard, and this is what's required. Sort of, whether it be a brochure, YouTube videos, stuff on Facebook, anything we can do, and we're looking into that and seeing what's the best way. We want to, put out a quality product. We don't want to put something out that's not quality. I know there's a lot of that information on our website in regards to the sewer task force, little button on there. But not everybody goes to our website. So try to find out, and it might be one of those things, once a quarter, we have a meeting at the park or when the new building, we're really hoping when the new building is completed, we can hold more people, maybe start doing classes up there like once a quarter, and coming in and saying,
New owners class.
yeah,
Texas has septic week in
yeah,
September. They have brochures, little cards.
Yep.
Every year in September, I think it starts 13th of that week, that, hey, it's septic week for Texas. It gives you everything you need to know, what you need to do. And I gave you some brochures on the
Yeah.
website where they have it. And if we could do that, even once a year,
Yeah.
we could get that in the mailbox as a non-profit organization. to each mailbox, at least that gives them some information of what, hey, you need to take care of this.
Hey Jeff, you did say at one time that the additive or whatever put in these is not recommended.
Well, I mean, everybody wants to use Red X, but there's a lot of their better stuff out there.
Okay,
Red X is so commercialized,
right.
What's
So-
better?
just, an enzyme of some sort.
Just
What we're
eat.
trying to do is help break stuff down.
Right, just eat.
And our lifestyle doesn't, everything we eat has a preservative in
Mhm.
it, but preservative passes the body, and it's preservative in the septic tank.
Every time you wash your hands, use a
Antibacterial,
antibacterial soap.
so that's going into our tank, so we need to put something in there.
My dad used to
Cold
put yeast, put a packet
Yeah,
of yeast.
freshman cheese, that's kind of old school deal.
So I don't
Not
know.
to say it doesn't work, I don't know if it does, but
Yeah, that's what he used to do.
What do you
it's a
eat?
bacterial additive. Usually don't do anything unless somebody's got some compromising issues.
Right, to take care of itself.
Sure. So,
Well, I just knew that the Rid-X was actually in our pamphlet or whatever, and I knew you said that actually.
yeah, I can research that because we're actually gonna start carrying, the ones we're pumping out now, especially with everybody staying at home, we need something that's gonna start out right and just pull it back down. And that's where our pump out call comes in. So I'll figure something out.
That's good. Anything else on those, the plan of attack or anything else before we move to the next one? The next, agenda item that we have is a continued discussion and review of the brand and type of pumps in the city on green tanks. I know we sort of hit the surface on this last meeting. Scott has done very good, thorough research and reached out to, quite a few people. The pumps that we're using now are Little Giant. They're more or less what you can quote unquote throw away pumps. When they go bad, you don't put them on the bench, you don't put repair parts on them or anything else. Pretty much just throw them away, put another one in, stuff like that. We're seeing what we're seeing a lot of is solids flow over out of the septic tanks, get into the green tanks, clog those things up, and they just sit there and run, deadhead, and burn up, more or less. We've talked to several companies, we're still in the work with some of them. One of the ones that we do want to try, upon y'all's approval, is Bar Mesa or Bar Mesa. I don't know how you pronounce it. But there is a local rep here that Scott reached out to, and he's come in and offered to sell us a factory direct pricing. We're paying upwards of $700 right now for the Little Giants to buy them here locally. These pretty much eliminate the middleman and go straight to it, and we're looking at $500. So you're saving
Or
$250, yeah.
Is this a grinder?
No, these are an effluent pump, and they have a little bit more head volume on them. You know, that's the problem we're having with homes further away is the head on the pump can't keep up with all the other ones, and so this will help the ones that are further away. If y'all want, we can talk about the grinder stuff. I know Tyler hit on it some last time. We're still looking at grinder pumps. We haven't rolled that out. We want to get a few of these in. Try them, put them out there in the field and see how they do. The thing on the grinder pumps, what you find out on the grinder pumps, to have a good solid grinder pump, you almost want a 230 volt circuit. Everybody's home here is 110 volts. If we don't have any of them out there 230, you can imagine what that would take to go back in and get 230 volts added out there and stuff like that. That's one of the hangups on it. In a perfect world, if everybody's taking care of their septic tanks and grease traps, these effluent pumps that we're using should be adequate enough, because we shouldn't be getting solids over there and they should only be pumping effluent water. But that's not the case. Now these do handle solids up to 3/4 of an inch. That should take care of most of your stuff.
And they have a kickback on it, so if it hits something, it'll reverse the order.
What about, will they time out so that they don't just sit there and run all the time? Do they have a timeout?
No,
Cool down, kick back on?
These that we're looking at, like all of them, operate on a float switch. And if that float switch is on, it's going to continue to run until that float switch goes off. Now these are, and I can share these, but I mean, these are designed to run nonstop for prolonged periods of time.
Not unlike the little giants that are
No, these are commercial grade.
short bursts.
Yeah, yes.
Say it'll run up to 3/4 inch solid, so
Those grades.
Yes.
that's not bad.
No, it's not. And then the head pressure on those bar bases are 80. What we got on the Little Giant right now is 63. And then the old Ghouls that we used to use was 58. And so you can see there's a lot more pressure on them. And Dean is also looking at all this stuff too, trying to figure out, but it's one of those things, if you're further away in the system at the end of the line, these, with the higher head pressure, would definitely help you out. And two, the cost is significantly cheaper than the other stuff that we're using. And then when you compare specs on those specs that the pumps are using right now, those are all higher quality on them.
You were looking at
And that-
$100 less each.
About $250 less each.
And we can talk with them, they'll probably supply us with a hot spare, that type of thing.
And so we would like to at least order about 3 or 4 of these, put them out in the field and start doing an analysis on them and seeing how they do.
Are they repairable?
Yes. They do have a disposable.
Yeah, you can, they do make repair parts for them, you put them on the bench, do that. Come with a 2-year warranty, you can pay more and get a 5-year extended warranty on them. But it's just like, the warranty is just like anything on a car, the wearable parts, they don't cover those, but everything else they do cover.
Who are they made?
South. They're, I'm trying to think.
So they're not Chinese made?
No.
Okay, I'm with you. I'm with you.
They're Texas made by,
I'm with you there.
I'm with you, okay.
no, that was one of the, that was. one
With
of
the name Parmesa?
I think, isn't it Lancaster's or?
No, it's south of
South
Houston.
Texas?
It's way down.
So let's see where it's at. It's a Texas corporate facility. But they make them, they're in-house and stuff. And the other good thing about them, not only do they make these kind of pumps, they make the same kind of pumps that would go into our lift station out there at our lagoons for it. So, him offering us a factory direct price gives us a lot more leeway too. If we have to put new pumps in the lift station, other things, they're not just, strictly.
The factory direct price he give you is not volume price, purchasing when you go.
No, and that was one of the main things I was concerned about, because he was sort of going off of our stats from 2 years ago when we had the heavy rains and burned up all those pumps. And I told him how many we replaced back then, and he came back to Scott with the quote, and I said, hey, 90 of them a year is, I can't guarantee you that, can you still give me that price? And he said, yeah, sure, I'll give you that price. Very.
And they're willing to have a rep come out and talk to us and all of that.
We thought if anything, it was worth a shot, just to put these in and see how they do, go for them, and go from there. There's 2 other companies that we're in the back and forth going with, trying to talk to them too, and see. We don't want to just put all of our
Eggs in one basket.
eggs in one basket, exactly, so. They're good if y'all are board, recommend it, we'll definitely purchase a couple of them and put it out there and see.
I think we should,
Nice thing to do.
look at more than one, but yeah. The
Yeah,
only way you know is doing the research yourself.
Get a cheaper price and a better pump, it sounds like you do.
good, thank you, Scott, for doing it. Anything else y'all want to discuss, in regards to the pumps or anything like that?
Where do you have typically, where do you have your most failures? On the east side trying to push over there, or where?
Yeah, that's a good question, because ever since I've been here, we've made a map more or less of where all of our failures are. Dean and I have looked at it, and there's not one certain area. They're spread out everywhere. So there's not one certain area. We do see more of the pumps burned up coming from east, mainly because they got a pump all the way over here compared to the west. But we do have problems on the west too with burn-ups, just not as many burn-ups. Most of the ones on the west are, the tank will get full, the wires will get rotted, burned up, stuff like that, just normal stuff. East is more burn up, stuff like that. So yeah, we would at least like to put one on the east side somewhere. I know Scott's house is usually a big problem, and also the Octagon house next to him, so I'd like to put it either one of those two houses, and then find one over there in the west. I really want to put it in somebody that's gonna pay attention to it, watch it, and everything else. And so trying to figure that out. If y'all got any suggestions or anything over there?
How do you mean, pay attention to it and watch it? What do you mean to do about
You
that?
know, that stays on, one of those that's gonna really see, somebody like y'all that's watching it and knowing, hey, can I see a difference? Give them a heads up. Somebody that, I don't wanna put on one of those that doesn't know where the red light is, and doesn't call us till Friday at 4 o'clock and say, oh, my red light's been on for 4 days, you know, type thing. But it's somewhere where, there's a known problem where we've been back and forth to. So there's a couple of them I had. I didn't know if y'all had any ones.
You know more about what the problems lie than we.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll try.
Usually that's Sam and Kevin that know best about where it is, where they want to put one. And they had a couple places they listed today, and so, good. We'll go with their recommendation on that. That's all.
Do we need to make a recommendation?
No, I don't need any,
Move it on?
no, I just wanted to run it by y'all, make sure
Okay.
y'all are okay with it. Everything, I don't need a motion for anything like that. Anything else y'all had questions on or anything? If not, that's all I have.
Can we take any papers home?
Yes. Yes. Those are for you.
I'll entertain a motion.
Motion.
Second. It's over, folks. Turn it off.
I like that.
I want to